It is evident that clearly seen or easily understood fact. It is evident that literacy rates directly influence a nation's economic development. It is evident that tourism boosts the local economy and employment opportunities. It is evident that artificial intelligence is reshaping employment opportunities globally. In a similar fashion, done or happening in a comparable way. Healthy diets prevent diseases. In a similar fashion, exercise improves well-being. Many species migrate seasonally, and in a similar fashion, humans relocate globally. Ancient pyramids were built in a similar fashion across different ancient civilizations. A notable difference. An important or significant distinction exists. A notable difference appears between male and female literacy rates regionally. A notable difference exists between spoken dialects and formal written language. A notable difference exists between commercial and homemade cleaning products. Under closer scrutiny. Examined carefully or in more detail closely. Every detail of the experiment is now under closer scrutiny for accuracy purposes. Under closer scrutiny, the product contained several harmful chemical ingredients. The contract terms went under closer scrutiny during the final negotiation session. At the forefront of. Leading or in a prominent position. That country remains at the forefront of green energy and sustainable technologies. The company remains at the forefront of artificial intelligence and robotics research. The hospital is at the forefront of emergency medical care, with its advanced facilities. The study reveals. Research shows or uncovers important information. The study reveals plant growth depends heavily on sunlight and water availability. The study reveals patterns of animal migration affected by environmental changes. The study reveals fossil records indicate rapid species extinction events historically. To be specific. Giving detailed or precise information here. Many animals migrate seasonally. To be specific, birds travel thousands of miles. To be specific, the ozone layer blocks harmful ultraviolet rays from reaching Earth. Social inequality persists. To be specific, income gaps widen in developing countries. In simpler terms. Explaining something using easier language. In simpler terms, recycling helps reduce waste and conserve natural resources. In simpler terms, evolution explains how species change over many generations. In simpler terms, neurons send electrical signals to communicate within the brain. To clarify further. To make something clearer or easier understood. To clarify further, passion combined with discipline leads to long-term mastery. To clarify further, the brain's frontal lobe controls reasoning and problem-solving. To clarify further, mind maps support visual learners in organizing key information. This implies that suggests or indicates a certain meaning. This implies that poor nutrition leads to weakened immune system responses. Water levels dropped. This implies that drought conditions are becoming critical. This implies that deforestation accelerates soil erosion and habitat loss drastically. In comparison with. When comparing two or more things. In comparison with books, audiobooks enhance learning for auditory learners. In comparison with humans, dolphins show better underwater navigation skills. In comparison with traditional methods, this technique saves time and resources. Take for example. Use as an illustrative case or instance. Internet access spreads rapidly. Take for example, rural villages gaining connectivity. Take for example, mindfulness meditation, which reduces stress and improves focus. Take for example, how urban green spaces improve air quality and community health. Despite the fact. Although something is true or happens. Despite the fact, neuroscience uncovers brain functions still largely mysterious. Despite the fact, language acquisition varies widely among different age groups. Despite the fact, artificial intelligence raises ethical concerns among many experts. One must emphasize. It is important to highlight or stress. One must emphasize the dangers of excessive screen time for young children. One must emphasize critical thinking in modern academic learning environments. One must emphasize the benefits of bilingualism in today's interconnected world. All things considered. Taking everything into account or a summary. All things considered, social media influences political opinions in various ways. All things considered, evolution and genetics remain central biological concepts. All things considered, mathematics underpins all scientific theoretical frameworks. On the contrary. Opposite to what has been stated or implied. The story seems predictable. On the contrary, it surprised readers in many ways. On the contrary, the theory suggests that temperature rise accelerates ice melting. On the contrary, renewable energy can provide reliable power, if managed correctly. As a consequence. Resulting effect or outcome of an action. As a consequence of automation, thousands of workers lost their factory jobs. As a consequence of overfishing, seafood populations are sharply declining globally. Overusing natural resources continues. As a consequence, ecosystems face collapse. In stark contrast. A very obvious or extreme difference shown. In stark contrast, human behavior varies widely, despite universal biological drives. In stark contrast, theoretical models sometimes fail when applied to real scenarios. In stark contrast, neighboring nations supported peace, while others funded the war. With utmost sincerity. Complete honesty and genuine intention. The apology was given with utmost sincerity, showing genuine regret for the error. She accepted the criticism with utmost sincerity, hoping to learn from her mistakes. The ambassador spoke with utmost sincerity during the peace negotiation meeting. To put it succinctly. To express something clearly and briefly. Global cooperation is required. To put it succinctly, unity strengthens solutions. To put it succinctly, corruption undermines trust in democratic institutions globally. To put it succinctly, balancing work and life improves overall happiness and output.